Who do you think you are?
How are you doing?
Who did you think you are? How did you get in here?
What do you mean, how did I get in here?
I mean, how did you get in here? What do you mean, what do I mean? What do you think this is, the monkey bars at the playground?
A quiet morning inside the courthouse. A new judge arrives early, still wearing his gym clothes because he planned to change before the session began. He walks into the courtroom, calm and composed, heading straight for the chair where he would sit to make decisions that affect people's lives. But before he can sit down, a bailiff storms in, aggressive, suspicious, and overflowing with misplaced arrogance. "Who do you think you are?" he shouts. Not a polite question, not a procedural check. It is a challenge, a threat. The judge tries to stay calm, but the bailiff keeps pushing, demanding, ordering, interrogating him as if he were confronting a criminal. The judge sits down, and immediately the bailiff explodes in anger. He accuses him of trespassing, threatens to arrest him, repeatedly insults him, calls him boy, questions his identity, questions even his right to sit in a room that he is actually responsible for overseeing. The man in the judge's chair continues trying to stay calm, but you can hear the disbelief tightening in his voice. The bailiff, meanwhile, becomes louder with every sentence, harsher, more aggressive, drowning in his own uncontrolled ego. Clearly, this is no misunderstanding. This is a ridiculous and shameful display of power. The bailiff acts as if he is the owner of the courtroom, as if the badge on his chest gives him the authority to decide who is allowed to exist and who isn't, as if respect only flows one way, toward him. He doesn't ask for ID, he doesn't check any personnel list, he doesn't consider for even a second that he might be wrong. He only sees someone unfamiliar, someone who doesn't match the picture in his head, someone he believes he has the right to dominate. And he throws out every accusation he can think of: trespassing, tampering with property, falsifying evidence, even threatening to add more charges simply because he feels like it. This is not law enforcement. This is ego theater. For several long, uncomfortable minutes, the bailiff keeps escalating, threatening to arrest, threatening to handcuff, threatening to remove him from the courtroom. Every word he says becomes undeniable proof of how fragile justice becomes when the wrong person holds authority. And then, in just a few seconds, everything flips. Another court employee walks in, confused by the confrontation, and calmly states the truth. He is the judge. The bailiff freezes. The authority he bragged about a minute earlier disappears instantly. The man he tried to throw out, insult, humiliate, and arrest is his new superior. In that moment, the entire courtroom becomes a mirror, revealing exactly what happens when power falls into the wrong hands. People who don't understand responsibility, who lack integrity, who don't know how to respect others. The judge doesn't yell, doesn't retaliate. He simply delivers one cold, lawful sentence. This misunderstanding is going to cost you your job. A badge does not create character. Power does not replace decency. And the courtroom, where justice must be upheld above all else, cannot tolerate arrogance disguised as law enforcement. What happened in that courtroom was not just an argument between two people. It was a clash between two entirely different philosophies of power, one grounded in law, the other inflated by ego. When those collide, the cracks in the system become frighteningly clear. This wasn't just a bailiff making a mistake. This was a man who believed the badge on his chest gave him total freedom to act, regardless of facts, procedures, or the basic respect owed to others. The question is, where did that belief come from? And more importantly, how many people have been treated the same way, without a camera, without a judge to step in, without anyone present to stop the abuse? Most people respect law enforcement, not because of the uniform, but because of the responsibility tied to it. A badge is supposed to represent discipline, training, and integrity. It should say, "You can trust me. I will act fairly, even when no one is watching." But people like this bailiff distort that meaning. For them, the badge becomes a weapon, to point at others, to intimidate them, to pressure them, to hide behind when they cross the line. That's why you see a bailiff shouting at a judge he has never met, threatening arrest simply because he sat down in a chair. Why? Because in his mind, the courtroom doesn't belong to the justice system. It belongs to him. And that mindset, whether held by a bailiff, a police officer, a guard, or anyone with authority, is dangerous to anyone who expects fairness and equal treatment. What makes this story chilling is not that he dared to treat a judge this way. It's the realization of something worse. If he spoke to a judge like that, what did he do to ordinary people? Think about it. If he's that disrespectful to a judge, then how does he treat someone appearing in court for the first time, nervous, unfamiliar with the law, unsure of their rights? This behavior didn't develop in 5 minutes. Arrogance like that has roots. A history of behavior, a distorted understanding of authority, lack of oversight, and a system willing to look the other way. The moment he was exposed was just one rare time the truth surfaced. But what about those who aren't judges, have no influence, and have no one to speak for them? That's the part that chills people. And that is why firing him is not just punishment, it is public protection. Look closely at the exchange, and you'll see the truth. The bailiff was not asking questions. He was issuing commands. He was not verifying information. He was asserting dominance. He was not protecting anyone. He was staging authority. Every word he used was language meant to belittle and intimidate. You don't belong here. I'll arrest you right now. Get out of the chair. You've got 5 seconds. You're trespassing. Don't ask me any questions. And the worst, boy, that word is not just offensive. It is historically loaded. It has been used to strip grown men of dignity and equality. And when someone in uniform uses it, it tells you everything. He sees the person in front of him as beneath him. This is not law enforcement. This is a performance of power. The moment the court staff member said, "He is the judge," everything collapsed. The bailiff's tone, posture, bravado, all of it fell apart. From arrogant bully to scrambling excuse maker in seconds. Because now, he wasn't dealing with a nobody. Not someone he thought he could push around. Not someone he assumed was powerless. He was facing his superior, the man who controlled his future in that courthouse. And justice finally sat in the correct chair. The judge didn't need to scream, didn't insult him the way the bailiff had done. He simply delivered one precise sentence. This misunderstanding will cost you your job. Justice does not need volume. It needs clarity. This story went viral not only because it was shocking. It tapped into a long-standing question America struggles with. What happens when people in power forget they exist to serve the public? We see more extreme versions every day. Traffic stops that escalate too quickly. Arrests that become violent for no reason. Officers abusing authority because they think no one will challenge them. Treating citizens as criminals before treating them as humans. The courtroom incident is smaller, but the pattern is the same. The judge firing the bailiff wasn't just the end of the story. It is a model of accountability. A reminder that arrogance comes with consequences. Abusing power is never a small mistake. No authority figure is above the law. And most importantly, justice isn't a slogan on a wall. It must be practiced, even inside the system itself. People keep replaying the video because it hits a quiet fear in society. If a judge, someone with authority, education, status, can be treated like trash, then how will regular people be treated? People without titles, without legal knowledge, without the confidence to speak up. People who cannot say, "I am the judge." For them, the risks are higher, the consequences heavier, the chance of vindication smaller. That's why this story matters, not because it's dramatic, but because it reveals something real. The judge walked in that morning expecting a normal day. The bailiff walked in believing he was the one controlling justice. In the end, only one of them understood what justice really meant. And only one walked out with his job. If the story ended with the bailiff being fired, many would be satisfied. Justice served. A man misusing his authority lost the authority he abused. But the deeper truth is painful. How many like him remain in the system? The judge was lucky. He had a title. He had recognition. He had the power to hold the bailiff accountable. But thousands of ordinary people walk into court, scared, confused, alone. They can't say, "I am the judge." They don't have anyone to reveal the truth for them. They cannot fire the person mistreating them. And that is the deeper issue. A courtroom is already stressful, even when everyone behaves properly. For many, it is the most anxious moment of their lives. Their future, finances, reputation, even freedom hang in the balance. They enter, hoping the system will be fair. But imagine, you walk in, and instead of professionalism, you meet hostility. Instead of clarity, you meet suspicion. Instead of respect, you're treated like trouble. The bailiff didn't just yell at a judge. He shattered the foundation of trust the justice system relies on. A courtroom relies on 3 things. 1. Fairness. 2. Order. 3. Respect. When a bailiff abuses power, all 3 collapse. And when fear enters the courtroom, justice exits. Systems don't break because of one bad person. They break because people around them refuse to fix what they see. People like this bailiff are rarely alone. Co-workers know him. Supervisors know him. Defendants remember him. Their families see it. And yet nothing changes. Why? Because in many law enforcement environments, toxic cultures exist. No challenging authority. Complaints discouraged. Misconduct covered up. Loyalty valued over truth. Abuse dismissed as a bad day. A system that only fixes itself when humiliated is not a justice system. It is a rug hiding dirt. People often worry about big power, governors, judges, politicians. But they forget that the most dangerous power is small power with instant impact. A bailiff cannot sentence you, cannot decide guilt, cannot fine you. But he can humiliate you, make you stand or sit, escalate tension, push you into conflict, control access, influence perception, turn a misunderstanding into a disaster. A person with small power and no humility is more dangerous than a person with big power and ethics. That's why systems must screen for character, not just qualifications. Procedures can be taught, integrity cannot. In the video, the bailiff demanded respect, but he respected no one. He shouted for obedience, ignored evidence, invented rules. Respect cannot be forced. Power cannot be self-declared. Authority cannot be shouted into existence. Law enforcement requires procedure, verification, clear communication, professionalism. A properly trained bailiff would have 1. Politely asked for ID. 2. Explained the concern. 3. Verified with the court. 4. Apologized. 5. Returned to duty. 5 steps, 5 minutes, no humiliation, no threats. No one loses their job. Some people become better with authority. Others are exposed by it. The bailiff belonged to the second group. The badge didn't mature him. It amplified his worst traits. It didn't make him responsible. It made him arrogant. It didn't protect justice. It obstructed it. Power doesn't change people. It magnifies who they already are. Yet many local courts lack transparency, staffing, oversight, and maintain cultures of "don't make it a big deal." Firing him was right, but it shouldn't have been the first time anyone noticed he had a problem. It should have been the last. Almost everyone in America has been treated poorly by someone with authority. Not always police, sometimes airport agents, guards, corrections officers, or bailiffs. This story reminds people of the moments they were dismissed, misjudged, disrespected, treated like criminals simply because he has authority. The judge's calmness, contrasted with the bailiff's meltdown, shows a truth. Dignity is stronger than intimidation. Responsibility is stronger than ego. A courtroom should be the safest room in the building, not because armed personnel stand there, but because the people inside understand justice. That day, justice sat quietly in the judge's chair. Ego stood yelling in front of him, and when truth entered the room, ego collapsed. The judge didn't yell, didn't resort to force. He restored the order the bailiff destroyed. The legal system is only strong when the people running it are strong in character. When they fail, accountability isn't optional. It is required for the system to survive. Thank you for following this story to the end. If this incident made you think about power, responsibility, and what true justice should look like, don't let the conversation stop here. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us as we uncover stories that expose the truth, challenge the system, and remind us why accountability matters. Your attention matters. Your voice matters. And when we speak up together, we can demand a justice system that truly deserves its name. See you in the next video, and stay sharp.